heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. Hey yo, heart of a villain beats hard in the centrifuge. Bearded BP, 100 interviews. All it takes is 2 mics and 1 line. This is Bearded Villains podcast worldwide. Driving cross countries, getting ball tires. Fam across ponds, always inspired. Chapters connect, and then it's on fire. Check your phone, cause BV is like a live wire. They said that we couldn't do it, underestimate the power of brotherhood. Every bro, every chapter, every caption. Heart of a villain, bro, lights, camera, action. Action, action, action. Let's go. From the start to the finish, go hard and we win, and it's the heart.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Friday night edition of The Heart of a Villain, the podcast and live stream devoted to the Bearded Villains Worldwide Brotherhood. Tonight, it is January 24th, and you are here for episode 238. 238. Hey, it is snowing, it is cold. It is snowing and cold in parts of the country right now that don't normally get snowy and cold. It is crazy to see you people in the South going nuts for this snow. You can have it all. I know it's not something you normally get. So it's exciting for you. I get it. For those of us up here in the North, I just, the first time this snow came down this year, I was already over it. So I'm already ready for it to be done. So, and I'm sure it's like a little, I don't know, a little respite, a little vacation for those of you down south. Maybe you're just loving it and enjoying it. I don't know, but I know in some parts it's making it very difficult on some people. So I apologize to you for that. But you guys can have it. You guys can keep our snow. We shoved all of our stuff down to you guys, and well, not all of it, because I've got a whole bunch of it just taking a dump in my yard right now. So, and it is still very, very cold outside. So, and I know, me in Northern Indiana, I know I can't compare the cold to those of you and you brothers up in Canada. I know I can't compare it. You guys are 20 to 30 degrees colder than me right now. But cold is cold, you know, and I'm not walking outside my underwear for nothing. So, as much as some of you want to see it, I know. But hey, let's get off and running on this one, man. This is episode 238. Tonight, I have an interview with Mike. Now, if you're not familiar, many of you are, Mr. Modern Viking, co-cap from Utah. He is also a member of the Captain's Committee. And while I was sitting around talking with my co-cap, Ed, who's, you know, is board member, today I was talking with him a little bit about some stuff, and the idea came across that maybe interview somebody from the Captain's Committee, talk a little bit about what there's some plans coming up for the future and a new approach to some things. They wanted to be kind of a proactive approach as opposed to reactive, and really try to kind of focus on the future and focus on helping any chapters that need it. So I thought that'd be a good idea. Let's do that. So a little while ago today, I spoke with Mike and recorded an interview, and I'll be playing that for you in just a little bit. Great interview. Learn a little bit about what the Utah Villains have been up to lately, and then kind of get a glimmer of hope for the future of what the members of the Captain's Committee hope to do moving forward. So I hope you enjoy that. Stick around for that interview and enjoy that. Personally, it's been an interesting week. Had to make a trip back to the old dentist, and once again, it makes it sound like it's a weekly occurrence, to do a root canal. Those are always fun, right? So yeah, the first couple days of the week, it's been light eating and everything. I feel like I've lost like 20 pounds because I'm not eating. But hey, occasionally I'm still doing the drinking, right? Cheers on this Friday night to everybody that's chilling out. If you are at home, great. If you're working still right now and you happen to be listening to this or watching this while you're working, I do appreciate you watching while working. And hopefully you're able to have yourself an adult beverage if you're so inclined when you get off work. So tonight the selection is another one of the great budget bourbons out there under the sun, the Early Times Bottle and Bond, the blue label. Very good stuff. Anyway, all right. So we got a lot of stuff going on right now. We got some new merch stuff that I can talk about to share with everybody. And first, I want to reward, if you can call it that, right? I want to reward those of you who are here with us live, commenting in the comments section, and say hi, give a shout out to those of us who are talking. I know there's a few people that are here with us live that aren't vocal tonight, and I get that. I understand. That's okay. Hey. I don't know if he intended Conman 008. And yes, whether I know your name or not, I like to call you by your name that is here on the YouTube. I don't know if he meant to sound like Fat Albert with the hey, but he did. Or maybe it's just me putting the voice to it. I don't know. But good evening. Mr. John Mason is with us. Hello, all, he says. How you doing? Thanks for checking us out tonight. Thanks. Buddy's hanging out with us as well. Evening, gentlemen. Always such a gentleman himself. Good evening, buddy. Good to see you here tonight. Oh, we got Perth checking in. Beard Life 91. Good to see you here tonight. Hanging out all the way from Perth. What time, if you're still with us live, what time is it in Perth? What day and date and time is it right now in Perth? I'm curious. What's the delay or the distance, or you know what I'm saying? What's the time setting over there right now with you? I'm curious. Mike's hanging out with us tonight. Hey, we're going to hear from Mike in just a little bit. Surprise. We're going to hear from him in just a little bit. Hey, Rob is hanging out with us. He's usually first on the list. He's a little slacky tonight, a little slow on the uptake, or maybe he just wanted to let somebody else jump in first. I don't know. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Good morning to you, good sir Rob. How are you tonight? Good to see you here for sure. He says, oh, Perth, Australia, checking back in, 9:10 a.m. on Saturday. All right, you're future timing me, so don't tell me what's going on, please. Yeah. So you must be on the first part of the cusp of the date line. I'm not sure where the date line is. I know where. I mean, I've seen on the map where the date line goes, but based off of what time I know it to currently be, like in England and whatnot right now. Yeah. So anyway, it's earlier for you. So hopefully you're having a great Saturday morning, and maybe hopefully not working too hard. I don't know what your schedule's like down there. But thank you guys so much for being here and hanging out with us on a Friday night or Saturday morning, as we've seen with some. Good to see you. All right. So I've got a good interview coming up here in just a few minutes with Mike, and I want to make sure I get into that and give plenty of time for that to go. That was an interesting interview, I will say, Mike, because with Mike, man, it was internet struggles tonight, and I can't 100% blame it on his internet. I don't know. Could have been a little bit of mine. I don't know. But we were back and forth like 2 or 3 times, reconnecting, connecting. I think I've edited the interview in such a way that it's not super obvious. Well, I mean, if you're paying attention, it'll be a little bit obvious, but hopefully not to the point where it's completely distracting for everybody. All right, so I want to get in real quick. I want to share some merch items that have come across my desk or that I have found while searching the interwebs of BV land. Now, if for some reason, once again, as I always say, if I'm missing something, if it's yours and I'm missing it, please let me know. Send me a message because I want to make sure that I'm getting stuff out. Especially if it's something that you're doing for charity, some monies that you're trying to raise for charity, some item that you're trying to save, something you're trying to do to raise money for something. Absolutely, positively. Please reach out to me and let me know, and I will make sure I get that on. Rob is hanging out with us as well. He just jumped in. Hey, fam, what's up, Mr. Fettas? Good to see you here. All right, so, yeah, Mike says got to get that Utah internet fixed. Yeah, no doubt. They got all that money over there. They should be able to pipe up an internet for you pretty decent, like I would think. Okay, so let's get kicked into some merch for tonight. As you know, I always, if I've got something going off for my chapter, my boys and I, all of us here in Northern Indiana, we were actually the first chapter to get a hold of one of these guys, the socks patch, and we still have a handful of these out there. I think now we've come across, we're done. Everybody should be done paying their Christmas bills and everything. This is for the Global Homeless Outreach. So everybody that is trying to raise a little bit of money for their community, if you're not familiar with the way this worked out, VK came across and said, which chapters would like to do this? And our chapter stepped up and said, yes, we would like to do this. So he donated the patches. He donated the patches. We get all the proceeds from the patches. We're selling them for $15. And then all of the proceeds were going to go right back into our community to give socks to those in need. Very, very cool. And right now, there are currently only two of these out there in the world. Only two variations of these that are out there for sale right now. So if you are a patch collector, you need to get on these. There's only 100 of these made. As you can tell, they are numbered. They come with a numbered card. So please reach out to us, bvnorthernindiana.org, and grab your patch, or two or three if you like to collect limited patches that won't be made again, to my knowledge. I think this is a one-time deal. I don't see these being done. So very, very cool idea, and we were happy to get in on it. So thanks, VK, for this idea. But there's another chapter that's also doing the same thing in their area, and it's actually across a few waterways. I'll get into them in just a second. I'm going to tease you for that. But the second of the two patches, the other patch that's currently out, like I said, there's only two of these out there, was just released this week. So now you have the chance to get two different variations of this patch in numbered limited edition. And like I said, I'll get back to that in just a second here. Next up, I think the Smoky Mountain Villains are still selling their 7th anniversary Isaiah 117 patch. I don't know if anybody will jump in and tell me if they're sold out or if they're no longer for sale. Hopefully somebody would tell me that. But found them, and I wanted to continue that from last week when I first posted it. Very, very cool. I believe it may be their first red patch I've ever seen. That's at least the first one that I remember seeing from Smoky Mountain. Fully red and black, but very cool patch. Raising money for Isaiah 117 House, one of their great charities that they work with. So hit up the boys. They marked them down, it looks like, from $15 to $12. So they're a very affordable patch that you get to buy and raise money for charity. So definitely hit those guys up for that. And then also, I wanted to share, I did for the first time last week, BV Severed Sirs, North Carolina, their first ever chapter patch. Their first ever chapter patch came through and is available now. So if you're one of those that like to collect patches, especially first gen patches, I will say this: their first gen patch looks a lot better than our first gen patch. I know our Northern Indiana patch. I refer to it lovingly, of course, as the ugly patch. It was a hideously ugly first gen patch, but it became kind of one of those things that we grew to love because of its hideousness, at least in my eyes, and hard to find now. But yeah, it was a mess. But these look very nice. So BV Severed Sirs, North Carolina, for $12, you get their first gen patch. So go out and grab one of those for sure. And then also, I don't know, these were on pre-sale, I think, last week. So I don't know what the deal is, if they're still selling them or not. But if you'd like to help donate money, help donate to all the those that lost family members and or loved ones and or items and homes, and lost anything for that matter in the fires out in California, the Bearded Villains Los Angeles chapter is making this shirt for charity. And it also honors the first responders. So for $30, you get one of these bad shirts. If you are still interested, I don't know if the LA chapter is still selling these. I think they were on pre-order, like I said. But hey, maybe you can work something out with them if they're not officially on sale still. But the Bearded Villains LA, the Los Angeles shirts, their LA Fire support shirt for $30. So hit them up, check them out, and see what you can do for those. Also up, this just came across my board, and I'm going to actually get my little phone out here because I need to make sure I read my little note that I had for this. And I didn't even bring my reader glasses. So I'm going to try to do the service to this the best I can. So they are doing a giveaway. The Lakeshore and Sweden chapters are doing a giveaway. It's a mega giveaway, they're saying. They're down to 25 BV Lakeshore Sweden collab patches left. Once they're all sold out, they will hold a drawing. Remember, with every purchase of the Lakeshore Sweden collab patch, your name goes into the drawing. They'll be giving away one Lakeshore and one OSW back patch. All right, there it is. They're giving away one Lakeshore and one OSW back patch. So if you purchase the collab patch between Sweden and Lakeshore, you are put in for this drawing. This patch is only $13 plus shipping. It's a big patch too, 4.5 inches by 5 inches. Hit up Lakeshore Villains to get one of yours. Like I said, there's only 25 left. So once they're gone for $13. Hit them up. And then here it is, the second of the two available socks patches, the bright blue and gold. It's a beautiful patch. I've always loved blue and gold color combinations. But the Bearded Villains Sweden socks patch is now available as well. So now you can get two. And I don't know how many there are going to be made. I don't know how many, as far as how many different chapters got in on this. I've not heard a solid answer yet, but I know it's not many. I know there's not many. And right now you only have two to choose from. So in any event, it's going to be very limited supply. There's only 100 made of each one of the chapters that did take part in this. And so right now we only have Sweden and Northern Indiana that you can grab. So hit up your brothers in Sweden, the Swedish chapter, to get a hold of the BV Socks patch collab from their chapter for $15. And that is the merch that I have for What's Good today. I do appreciate y'all. All right. Very cool. Very, very cool. I'm going to jump back in here. Rob says, wife says, hi, BP. Hey, hi, wife. Good to see you. Good to see you. Appreciate you hanging out with us on a Friday night. It's Grivets. Timian. He's apologetic. Sorry, gentlemen. I'm late listening to the stream at work. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. I apologize. I'm just happy that you're here. Even if it's late, I don't care. You're here hanging out with us, learning about some good stuff going on in the BV world. That's what it's all about, is just to chill. And if I can be a resource that just passes on some information a little bit in some way, shape, or form, we get so bogged down, in our phones. And the crazy thing about it is that now it's no longer just, it's who you like to follow that you're always going to be reading about, because you take one wrong turn, as we've all probably noticed, you take one wrong turn down the Facebook or Instagram highway, you click on the wrong thing one time. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but you click on the wrong thing like one time just because what's that about? And you watch this little video or something like that. And next thing you know, your algorithm gets changed. And now Instagram or Facebook, they start feeding you all this other junk. And before you know it, you turn around and you're like, 80% of my feed now is this other stuff, and I'm not seeing hardly any BV stuff. I wish I could figure out a way to reset that, because I've noticed that. And, sometimes you start watching funny videos or something like that pop up, and then they want to feed you more and more and more of those. And next thing you know, you turn around and you have to search to go find the information on Instagram or Facebook or wherever else about the BV chapters. The stuff that used to just pop up all the time for you. Now you have to search for it. I hate that part. I hate that. So that's why I implore you all that if you've got stuff going on, please reach out to me. Send me a message. I would love to help promote your sales of stuff, your events, whatever I got to do. That's what it's all about, is being in a community of supportive brothers to help one another out and help out your goals. So that's really what I want to do. So let's dive into it. Earlier today, I spoke with Mike, and we talked about everything from what the Utah chapter's doing to what the captain's committee's doing and what their hope is for the future as far as what they want to be able to do regionally within their individual areas. And I think it's a great effort, and I think that's a really good there. I think the mindset here is future. It's forward thinking, and we're looking to the future. We want growth. And yeah, so I'm going to play my interview with you for you right now that I had with Mike just a little while ago, earlier today, talking about everything that is BV and the future. So let's hear it. Well, if you've been sleeping under a log or just hiding out in the world, you may not have known that lots and lots and lots of things have changed within the BV world over the last year or so. And man, one of the things that's happened is there's been, a reintroduction to a captain's committee. It's been there for a bit, but they're trying to get some new things off the ground and new plans for the future. And man, today I have a special guest with me today that's going to talk to us a little bit about what his chapter's doing, but also a little bit of insight as to what we can expect moving forward with the captain's committee. I'm talking with Mike from Utah. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, not too bad. How are you, BP?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. You're officially my first interview of 2025. I've been going it solo for the first couple weeks of the year, so congratulations to you for that huge honor.
Well, thank you.
Oh man, tell us a little bit about. I know it's been a bit since I've really checked in with you and seen what you guys are up to lately. So let's just start off there. What was the last, little bit of 2024 and like for you guys in Utah, and what's the plan? If you have anything that you can share with us about 2025.
Absolutely. So the last little bit of 2024, obviously we held West Coast this past year. It didn't quite get the turnout we were expecting, but we were still really successful. We had a couple different chapters show up, so there was plenty of representation there. Between the community stepping up majorly and showing up to the event and helping out, we were able to raise about $1,800 for Continue Mission. Which, to retouch on that, that's an organization that helps disabled veterans after they come back from war. Kind of gives them a camaraderie and brotherhood, just like we have in BV. Something that they definitely miss when they come out of the military. So after that, we did a lot of just kind of taking it easy. West Coast took a lot of energy out of us, and we focused a lot on the chapter brothers and just doing a bunch of hangouts and building up that camaraderie and hanging out with the brothers, and followed that up with Four Corners. As far as 2025 is concerned, Utah is actually doing quite a few things. We are actually celebrating our 10-year anniversary as a chapter this year. We
Whoa.
were actually, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Uh, we actually were founded on March 29th, 2015. There is a few different chapters we shared the founding date with, but because of that, we're actually holding an anniversary meet that I would like to invite the rest of you guys here in BV to. We're going to be holding a beard competition, same place that we did the West Coast beard competition at the Ice House. And we're going to be raising money for teen suicide prevention. It's a topic that is very near and dear to the hearts of our chapter brothers and myself due to some recent events. We're really looking forward to that. And to also celebrate our 10-year anniversary, we have been asked for about 3 years now to run a specific type of patch. Um, those of you who have asked know what we're talking about. That is happening and happening very soon. Be on the lookout within the next few weeks to a month. We will be dropping that patch, and it's going to be really, really cool, guys. So, other than that, we have a bunch of boots to ground charity events planned this year, feeding the homeless, as well as just, we're some of these charity events, we're going to turn over the reins to some of our patch guys to run it and pick the charity that they want to assist, and get out there and put faces to who we are, the Utah villains, and just better the community. So.
Man, I love so much to unpack there. For let me just jump back for just a second. Um, you guys rolled. It never even occurred to me, I guess, that you had to roll straight out of West Coast into a different event as well. Um, one of
Mhm.
the one of the favorite events for a lot of people every year, and it's
Mhm.
one that, man, it's one that I still haven't. I mean, it's a bucket list item for me, but it's so far away. And BP don't camp, so uh, it's a one of these days if I can roll in with a fancy RV. That's the only way I'm going to be able to do that one. But my exploits in tents and things like that are widely known and the thing of legend. But yeah, it's definitely not something I plan on doing again in the future. But that's a very cool way that you guys ended out the year. But uh, let's touch on a couple things there. You're doing another event, and you said something about a patch. Now you're just going to come on here and just tease me like that. You're not gonna give us any ideas. You're just going to throw out the if you know you know thing. What's that about?
So there is our current logo. Um, we have been asked to run a variation of that logo
Okay.
for a few years now since we introduced the logo, and we just never got around to it for whatever reason, and I don't know why. It's been a popular demand, and it's something that a lot of chapters have done with their logo,
Okay.
but it's basically gonna be the logo, but it's gonna be different. So
Okay. You don't have to tell me.
um,
I know you want to keep it a
that
surprise. You don't have to tell me.
that's pretty much all I've been given permission to say. So,
That works. That works.
but yeah, it's gonna be awesome. You guys are gonna love it.
I also love the fact that you talk about, the boots on the ground aspect of things and how you've kind of reached out to the guys to say what's on your heart and minds. What do you want to do? Um, and I think that's such a vital point of giving the guys within the chapter a voice and a feeling of that there's some impact there, and that they actually have, they're not just one of the people, that they can actually have a great impact on some things. So I love
Mhm.
I love what you're doing with that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, the guys have responded really well to it. They've been asking for a couple years now. We love the beard comps. They're always a lot of fun. It's a great way to raise money and awareness. But um, where we're at is the guys want to do more boots to ground. They want to get out and just affect the community and see the impact of their results. And that's really the difference between boots to ground and the beard comps is you don't really see the effect of what raising money does, right? But when you
Yeah.
get out there and you're handing a homeless person a sack lunch, right? You see the gratitude on their face. You see the effect that it has, and I think a lot of our guys love that. So we heard them, and we decided to do some more of that this year.
That's an awesome idea, man. It's an awesome idea. Um, it's how many, just out of curiosity, how big is your chapter now? I've lost track. I
So
mean,
our
approximately.
chapter, we're bigger now than we ever have been. So in the last year, we actually added 5 new patches. Yeah, so we're up to a total of about 18 guys, including our supporters and hopefuls. We're bigger than we've ever been, and because of that, we've had to evolve a little bit in the way we do things. Um, we've actually added a sergeant this year, so just kind of one of those things that we're changing. But yeah, we've grown quite a bit in just the last year.
So good to see, man. I love the growth. I get worried when I see chapters grow super fast, but I think with
Mhm.
manageable growth, it's great to see. Some chapters that some of the newer chapters, or some of the ones that you go through spurts, obviously, and you sometimes it's not really something you can really control. But I mean, because if people are interested and they're good guys, then it's not like you really want to turn people away. But when sometimes it can become very unmanageable very quickly, it feels, and we've seen some struggles that happen with that, but that's great. Natural growth, man, that's awesome. And and it's nice to see that you're kind of pivoting and looking for new ways to make things new and interesting within the chapter too. That's awesome, man. All right, so let's just get right into it. I got questions. I'm sure there's other
Oh,
people that have questions too, that pertain to this whole thing that's the captain's committee. Can you briefly go into really what I know what the focus originally was for the captain's committee, but that's kind of
mhm.
evolved over time into what the hope is for the future now. So, can you go into what the captain's committee is, what the goal of the captain's committee is, and how you see using that resource to the advantage of the membership?
Yeah, absolutely. So, captain's committee was originally designed as a intermediary between the board and the captains, and our job was to be the voice of the captains to the board, and suggestions that they may want to propose to the board for, I don't know, changes to the bylaws or just how processes are needing to be changed and whatnot. And over time, it became very clear that that was becoming antiquated. The idea was that, why don't we create a regional based system where we represent each region, whether it be Europe, Latin America, the United States, in the north, south, east, and west, um, to better represent these captains and have their voices heard. And what it's evolved into is, if someone in my region needs something, they can reach out to me, and I can reach out to the board or to VK himself and make sure that that need is met. What we're changing this year, is, rather than being reactive, we want to be proactive. And what this looks like is, we're going to hold meetings with the chapters in our region and the representative board members from each region that applies to the specific chapter. So, like, say for my region, I cover the West Coast, right? If I wanted to interview a chapter in my, or have a meeting with a chapter in my region, it would be Ed, on Trek, and VK. And we would sit down and talk about some of the needs that they have, if there are any, what they need from us as far as support, and what they're looking to accomplish this year, and how we can help them accomplish these things, and what that looks like on our end and what it looks like on their end. That way, that these chapters can be as successful as they possibly can, and we're helping guide them to that point in any way that we can. So
Okay,
that's
so
that's really the big change.
no, that's a great change. It's a great change. I mean, before the I think the captains committee kind of felt like it was a group of captains that were just basically feed information upward, and they're really, and I'm sure
Mhm.
that anybody that was on the captains committee, and I talked to a few of the guys, in past, that they almost felt like, well, what's the purpose of this? They were even asking themselves that, we should be able to do more. There should be more that this committee does. So it's nice to see that you guys are actually there. There's a proactive approach to this now. um, Now you talked about if you wanted to have a meeting, say now you're going to have how frequently are these meetings going to happen?
Well, for example, I have a meeting this Sunday with Pikes Peak.
Okay.
And Pikes Peak, they're going through some changes right now, and they're wanting to accomplish some pretty big things this year, and I'm super proud of them for it. But the frequency is just going to vary.
Okay.
It's going to be, the way I have chosen to prioritize it is, chapters going through major changes right now, or maybe they've gone through a leadership change. Maybe they're rebuilding or rebranding, right? Um, that's really where I've chosen to focus my efforts to begin, so that I can best help the chapters that need it the most. So, um, that being said, I mean, Pikes Peak, it's really just been a change in leadership right now. They've got a lot of big stuff planned this year, and it's really awesome. They're working on uh, planning an event for multiple MS, multiple sclerosis. I probably butchered that, but um, it, their former captain Squatch, his wife, suffers from that condition, and they've chosen that they're going to do a walk and whatnot, and get together and hold a big event and whatnot. And they've invited the chapters around them to come out and do that. And so that's another topic that I'll touch on with them. What do they need for that, and how can we help them be successful? But it really is going to vary depending on, just time and availability. To be honest.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So it's not necessarily that there's going to be like a planned quarterly meeting with you're going to try and hit up each chapter quarterly. It's kind of more or less, if you need us, I'm here for you. We can meet anytime, kind of on an as needed
Correct.
basis, depending on upon your needs.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, is there any plan? I mean, obviously you speak for just you, but is there any plan for the members of the captain's committee to go ahead and plan still to have, like, even if it's just a touch base once or twice a year
Mhm.
with the chapters in their area to say, how are we doing? Just to let you know, we do have resources. Because I think sometimes I love the idea. I worry that potentially if it's just left up to everybody else to reach out, then it's going to come into a
Mhm.
thing where they won't quite realize the resources that they could have and the discussions that they could have sometimes. And they'll just think I have to stay in my little hermit shell and do my own little thing here and
Mhm.
not open up, and reach out. So it would be cool if, the members of the cabinets committee still were going to go ahead and make that effort to go ahead and reach out to those people and say those chapters that maybe they don't hear from very often, those quiet ones, and
Right.
just say, hey, are we still good? Are you need anything from us? Is there anything you guys want to do?
Yeah, so I think the plan is we want to try and touch base with every chapter in our region, and just kind of see if there is anything that they need, or just even let them know that, hey, we're here, we see you. If you need anything, let us know. If we can support you in any way. The idea is we just want them to understand that we are their support system, right? Like just like the board, we don't want them to view us as this like, oh well, they deal with the board and this, that, and the other. No, we want them to understand that, like, hey, we as a captain's committee and as a board, and even as your president, right, in VK's position, we are here for you. We see you, and we want you to be successful. However, that needs to happen. So, and by doing so, it makes it more, I guess, likely that they're going to want to reach out if they need something, right? Um, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to happen that way, right? Like, obviously, we want to be proactive in this and be like, hey, let us help, you know what I mean? But if they see that effort from us on that end of things, it's more likely that they're going to be wanting to reach out and be like, hey, can you help us with this? Because it shows them that, hey, we actually do care.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. What worries me, and I know I've had just one-on-one conversations. I know with Ed, being that we talk all the time. The one thing that concerns me, and I think it probably concerns anybody that's in a committee capacity like that with the captains, is that it does feel like in the last in the last 6 months to a year that communication has gone down a little bit, as far as it just doesn't feel like people are talking quite as much, and it doesn't feel like uh, to me, at least outwardly, from appearances, from either Instagram, following different chapters on Facebook, or even if you follow chapters on the old line, or even now on Discord,
Mhm.
it still feels like it feels now more than ever that in the last few years that there's fewer and fewer chapters that are getting out, or at least if they are doing things, they're not publicizing it, and that's fine. Not I mean we don't have to. I love to see that because I
Right.
like to see people getting the word out. But there's this feeling I have that it feels like there's more chapters than usual that are just kind of there. They're just kind of holding space.
Yeah.
And I mean, if that's all that chapter needs to do for its brothers and that's working for them, great. But I worry, I worry a little bit about the guys that are in that chapter, and is it still holding what it once did, when is it still doing for them and allowing them to do for their community what they hoped it would? When you don't hear from these chapters so often, it's I don't know what else is. I mean, have you guys talked as a committee about ways that can be addressed, as far as how to approach these chapters? Because you don't want to step on their toes, and you don't want to come across
Right.
as, we're going to tell you how to run your chapter, but at the same time, I mean, obviously there has to be a concern when when some of these chapters are quiet, and every once in a while you hear somebody, chime in and go, "Yeah, we're still here," and it's like, we
Right.
have nobody's heard from you guys for a year and a half. Good to know, but
Right.
I mean, how can have you guys had discussions about what we can do about that?
Well, and that's where a lot of this conversation and this idea came from, was in our beginning of the year meeting with the board and the scout committee. We talked about this idea that, this past year and a half has been rather chaotic for BV as a whole, and we're many of us are aware of what happened this last year and a half, and it's just been a lot of change, uh, a lot of different things happening in BV, and so I think now that a lot of that seems to be changing, and we're focusing on growing forward as a brotherhood. I think a lot of these chapters are just, I don't know how else to say it. I think they're just focused mostly on doing their thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we want them to know that we're here, and that's the big thing. And I think that's where this idea came from. Is there is a, to your point, there is a big shift in things. I remember 2 years ago when I first met you, VP, in Vegas at the West Coast meet. That was a pretty decent turnout for West Coast. This past year at West Coast, we had a handful of guys from Idaho. We had one from Miami and one from LA, and then our chapter. That was it. Um, and I heard that other major events, even Four Corners, was smaller than normal. Um, there just seems to be this idea or this notion that people just aren't getting out as much. They're not attending bigger events as much. I don't know if it's the economy, if it's they're just too busy at the moment, which is totally understandable. But it just seems like a lot of stuff has changed, and we're not entirely sure why, to be honest with you. So I think this is a great place to start, is to touch base with the chapters in our region and see where they're at, what they're trying to do this year, and how we can help them be successful in what they're doing. Because if the board and VK are aware of some of these major events that are going on for them, we can help push these events. We can help advertise for them. We can help them get some of the things that they need to be successful. Like, if I had this for West Coast, other than being on the podcast last year, maybe turnout could have been different. I don't know, but I feel like this is going to be a huge help to some of these chapters that maybe have seemingly fallen silent, or maybe seem a little less active or vocal. Help them become more vocal and confident in what they're doing, and put themselves out there. I mean, ultimately, I want everyone in my region and all over BV. I want them to be successful. I want them to accomplish their goals and do what they want to do. So, I think it starts here. I really do.
Yeah. I think it's a great approach, and it's a great idea. I mean, we got to start somewhere. And I think to be able to try something. And I think like I said, I think it's a great approach. I had conversation. It's funny you laughed. You said something about talking about it on the podcast. This fledgling little podcast that only a handful of people listen to. If anybody if anybody thinks that this is going to be a thing that's gonna put butts in seats at any event, um, I apologize, because you've been sorely misinformed about the reach of this here show. But for the handful of us that do watch and listen and have fun with it, we appreciate it. But no, I've made mention before that over the last year and a half, before everything kind of the world shifted a little bit within BV. Before that, just in the last like 22 to 24, um, 2022 to 24, populations and attendance has gone down, especially the last year at events. Every event that I went to in 23 and 24, it was down from what it had been in years past, and in some cases even less than the right after the COVID. Of course, there was that big bump right after COVID. Everybody went to things, but I think
Mm.
it's a variety of things, and I've noticed too. I think it's a combination of finances. I think that does have something to do with it for a lot of people. I do think that there's a little bit of that 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 groundswell in the first handful of years of BV starting up. I mean, now we're pushing 10 years now, and even though, as I said, last week during the show, we're still kind of in our infancy, really. When you talk about fraternal clubs and different things like that, we are absolute babies in regards to how long some of these organizations have been around and still thrived. So we have that to our advantage, but at the same time, you know, being a beard club and being members of a beard club, it can be kind of a up and down road. And some people get into it and think it's going to be really cool and love it, and then they realize maybe after a year or two it's just not for them anymore, and they shave their beard or they want a just different lifestyle. And it's just one of those things. It's not like, because in order to be a part of it, you have to have it. And if you
Hmm.
decide that that's no longer a thing that you want, then so I think it ebbs and flows in that regard too. And but I think the heart of it that you get down to is that if you want to do it, if you want to be there, there's always going to be that. And as long as we stay positive and we try to look for new ways to integrate people and keep them interested. But I think a lot of it comes down to support, and we've noticed that it's one of the things I know we've taken to heart here in Northern Indiana is that because for years, you know, everybody kind of blindly went to 5 or 6 events every year and went to this event, and then they grew, and these events grew, and then they became kind of the national events that or regional events that everybody seemed to go to. And then I started to notice, and several people started to notice that sometimes those don't the you know you start to realize, hey, especially if you want to host your own event, you're going to go places that support you and that come to support your area, your event. And sometimes
Hmm.
sometimes many of our guys have, I think, done ourselves and the brotherhood a disservice, saying, just assuming that people are going to show up for an event because you've always hosted this event. And those numbers get down and they wonder why it is. Well, maybe part of it's because how many times have your guys come to other places other than your own event and expected people to be there? And I think that does, by now 10 years in, I think people start to feel that way. They've seen that. So there's a lot of different reasons that things at play that are getting behind people. And like you say, finances obviously is part of it, but um, even just going to the regional stuff has gone down a bit. So it's interesting to see. I'm always on the outlook to see what other chapters are doing, and can we steal something from them, or is this something that's working over there for them? And because everybody's done a beard comp, and that's the easy way, that's the thing to do. That's the quick and easy thing. But is there something you can do else? Something else you can do that's going to really want people to come and draw and have fun with you? So I'm excited to see what the conversations flow from, and I think it'll be interesting to see regionally how that plays out, depending upon which area of the country here in the United States anyway, specifically, how that plays out as far as that goes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. I really truly do care about the chapters in my region, and I see a lot of them at least once a year at Four Corners, sometimes more at West Coast. So I see these guys a lot. I interact with them a lot. Obviously, it's kind of my job to interact with them, but it's one of those where it's like I truly do care about how they're doing, and I want them to be successful. Um, I want them to be able to achieve the goals that they set for themselves, and grow as chapters, and show off what the West Coast is capable of. We have actually we actually have a saying in the Western Region Captains Chat. West is best. We want to be we want to be the beacon, man. We want to show BV what we're about, and you made a very good point earlier. And there's a phrase that I've started using recently, and I've even used it with my guys, and that's there is no I in the word brother, because there's not. Brotherhood is about more than just yourself, and you have to keep that in mind as you go about what you do within this brotherhood, and support and show out and give what you get from this club. You're only going to get out of it what you put into it. And at the end of the day, this brotherhood has given me so much. And that's why I go so far and above to do what I do within the brotherhood, and help the people around me. So I just hope that this spawns some good things for BV, and I hope to see more chapters doing big things. That's really what I want to see.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember there was a there was an old comic strip, like a little 2 picture comic strip that I immediately think back to when I think about kind of the state of BV right now. And it makes me laugh because I don't think of it as this is what everybody that's in BV is feeling, but I think that when we talk about some of those quieter chapters, the ones that where even the
Hmm.
captains, you don't hear from the captains from those chapters very often. They stay in their lane, they stay quiet, and every once in a while you might hear of them, right? And it's this comic strip where, and I think it was after a political some sort of a political vote or something like that, where it was a national thing that came out, and it was showing that you know all of these people, these different groups of people, were huddled in their caves. They didn't want to have anything to do with what was going on in the world at the time, and they were
Hmm.
content to be by themselves and do their own thing. And then after the aftermath, after it happened, then they start to roll away the rocks and come out of their cave a little bit and kind of look around and be like, take a step out of their cave. Is it okay for me to come out now? uh, looking around, and it feels like the last 8-9 months of BV in a lot of ways has been that way for some of these chapters, the quiet ones. And I would love, you just want to encourage them and say, look, you never needed to hide in your cave anyway. There was a lot of stuff going on, but you didn't need to. You could still be here, and you still could be vocal and do your thing. But I think sometimes we get worried about um, our guys get worried about the outlook and get worried about, am I going to be ridiculed for standing up for what I believe in, or am I going to stand up? And I think we all need to be leaders in that way, not afraid of what a small group of people might say. If you want to stand up and say, this is what I believe in. And it's interesting now because it feels like it's the aftermath, the last few months, and now we start to have people coming out of their caves looking around going, is it okay for me to come out now? And it's a very vivid image for me that I see.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, man. Like it's definitely interesting to see. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit, the aftermath of what has happened in just the last year and a half. And honestly, I think uh, I think you might be onto something. It was a lot for a little while, and obviously, as the club grows and ages, there's going to be change, right? We're going to have to evolve, and I think this was part of that process. And um, I think with everything that happened, I think a lot of these chapters are finally going. You're right. I think they're finally going, huh? Well, it's all over. So what now? You know what I mean? So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how things evolve over the next little bit, for sure.
Well, man, I'm excited to see where you guys can take this. Well, let's take it two steps. I'm excited for Utah and see what you guys are up to, man, and see with the growth and everything else that you guys got going on. I can't wait to see. I know you're not going to be a quiet chapter as far as putting stuff out there, and I that I love that. I hate when chapters feel like they shouldn't publicize what they're doing because they think that that's what they're doing, and it's not about that. It's sharing it with other chapters and showing what is possible. And you never know who you're going to give an idea to, what other chapters you're going to give an idea to. Who maybe they're stuck in a rut and they just can't find something to do, and they're gonna see you doing something and go, maybe we could do that. So I'm excited to see what your chapter is going to do, but I'm really excited also to see where the Campus Committee takes this thing and kind of runs with it and meets with these chapters and try to encourage everybody from coming out of their cave, coming out of their shell, and moving forward as things go.
Absolutely.
Well, man, I thank you so much for taking some time with me tonight and talking to me about it. You got anything else you want to get off your chest or talk about real quick before we head out?
Well, massive congratulations to you, by the way, for Bearded Mayhem.
Oh,
It's an honor to
you
share that
too.
with you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. It's it's crazy, man. But I'm honored, and I know you are as well. And just massive congrats to you. And I'm also excited to see what Northern Indiana does this year, and wanted to send a massive thank you to you and to Ed and your chapter for just the support that we've had from you guys in the past year, for sending out that package for us at West Coast, and um, you guys' assistance in helping with the brother from Austin For those unaware, there was a brother from Austin that actually was in a car wreck in California, and Northern Indiana teamed up with me to make sure that this brother got home safely. They did not have to do that, obviously, but they pulled some money together, and we were able to get him a hotel room, and he got home safely. So massive shout out to you guys for that, and yeah, I'm just excited to see what this next year brings, and hopefully some big things for you guys at Ezra this year too.
Yeah. Yeah. 5 years. We're excited, man. We're excited. All right. I'm going to let you go. Um, I look forward to it, man. I look forward to hearing from what's going on with you and watching the success of your chapter and the captain's committee and you as a brother over these next several months, man. So stay in touch, and keep me posted on everything going on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Alrighty, bro.
All right,
Talk to you
thanks, man.
soon.
Bye. All right. Thanks, Mike. Good conversation there. A lot to unpack. Really, as I said earlier, I mean, even when we started out the conversation, just a lot to cover there. And I think the more I mean, when listening back to just the interview, even though it was just still fresh in my head, it really does. It feels like there's so many of our brothers that are just kind of almost like in hiding, um, for a variety of reasons. I mean, it could be anything really, but it just feels like the communication. There's fewer people out there talking to each other. Um, I don't know if it's because people like myself are not super comfortable with Discord. I'll, I'll be the first to raise my hand to that. I'm still trying to figure that thing out. But it's there's it just feels like the communication is has changed a little bit, and there's less of it, and we can do a lot to change that. We really can, but it starts with all of us, the ones that are the vocal people. We don't want to step on people's toes. We don't want to we don't want to huddle over people and make some sort of overbearing statement to them or anything like that. But we want to let them know that we're there, and when they're ready to come out of their caves and talk, we're there for them. But we really want to encourage these guys that all of our brothers that are out there, that the ones that aren't, that you don't hear from very often, the full on chapters. There's full chapters that you may not have. I mean, that sometimes come up in conversation. There's full chapters that you hear about, and you're like, "Is there still a chap? I mean, are they still there?" Because I never hear from them. And I think, unfortunately, the sad part about that is that sometimes I think it becomes this. It's its own worst enemy, because I think sometimes, the quiet ones, the chapters that don't get a chance to do something, it could be because of a lack of leadership. It could be because of a lack of support within the chapter. It could be for a variety of reasons. Could be for a lack of uh, you know willpower or a desire within their community. It could be a whole bunch of different things. But we need to encourage each other. We need to be there for our other chapters and say, hey, worst case scenario, is there chapters nearby you, even within the same state, that you could reach out to, that's a quiet chapter that you could reach out to and go like, hey, can we maybe do a collab with you? Can we do a partner up something with you? Is there some way that we can help jumpstart efforts for you again if you're interested? We've lost a few chapters. We've lost a few chapters, some older chapters, really, in the last several weeks to a few months, and I hate to see that. And I wonder if I can't help but wonder if there was something that could have been done in some of these cases, if we would have just stepped out and reached out and said, "Hey, we're here for you still. What can we do to help out?" And the sad truth of it is that if they don't want it, then they don't want it. I mean, you can't hold somebody's hand all the way down that aisle. You can't grab them and you can't pull them out of that cave. You can't reach in that cave and pull them all the way out. They've got to want to come. But sometimes it's just a nudge that they need. And so my hope is that over the next several weeks, several months, that we're going to start to see some of these chapters that are out there, and we're not going to have to wait for them to raise their hand and go, "Hey, we're still here." We're going to find them, and we're going to meet them where they need to be met. And that's the hope. So, thanks, Mike, again. I hope that the captain's committee is able to do a lot of good with that. I hope that the captain's committee is able to work with these chapters and reach out to them and find ways that that we can figure it out as far as because man, we all came into this for something, right? We all came into this BV thing for a reason, and a lot of it was the same reason. And I know that there's some chapters that are really heavy in charity, and there's other chapters that are really are less focused on charity, more focused on themselves, on the brotherhood of it. And if that's what your chapter needs, then that's great. We'll support you with it, but let's be there for each other. Let's be there for each other wherever wherever that chapter needs us to be for them. That's what I'd like to say. So thanks again, and I hope that we can continue that effort. And I hope that's a discussion that we can continue as we move forward throughout the year of 2025. Whether you're navigating the rugged terrain of the great outdoors or conquering the concrete jungle of the urban landscape, Bigfoot Beard Company has you covered. Bigfoot products are made with natural ingredients designed to help maintain a healthy, rich beard without leaving it feeling greasy and heavy. From classic cologne-inspired fragrances to fruity notes and earthy tones, there's sure to be a scent for every occasion. With worldwide shipping available, why not take an opportunity to walk on the wild side? Head over to Bigfoot Beard Company today. That's www.bigfootbeardco.com. Again, that's www.bigfootbeardco.com. All right, guys. Well, hey, we've been here a bit, man, and I appreciate you all so much for taking some time out on a Friday night to hang out with me, or a Saturday morning, depending on your location. Hey, guys, I want to encourage us to get out of our shells, get other people out of their cave, get these chapters up and running, get them out and moving around. If that means that you got to nudge them a little bit, ask them, push them a little bit, try to. As I said, you're not going to be able to pull them right out of the cave on their own. They're going to need to have a little bit of that on their own. But let's see what we can do to support each other. As we move into 2025, this is going to be my last episode of January. We're already out of the month of January. 1 out of 12 down. So as we roll into February, I want to encourage us to stay there, support each other, and reach out to me and let me know what I can do to help you guys out. Give me the details on your merch stuff. Give me the details on your events, and I'll make sure I can get out there and push that stuff. Hey, also, if you've got some brothers that you think that we need to have on the show, they got something really cool in their life, something interesting going on. They're doing some personal outreach. They've got some huge goal for 2025, or they're doing some huge thing. Let's get out there and support each other. But let me know who it is. Let me reach out to them and see if I can bring them on the show, and we'll talk a little bit about them. Get to know some of the brothers that we don't hear from very often. I know I have a handful of guys that I talk to all the time, but those are because those guys are comfortable talking to me, right? But let me know what some of our brothers are doing. Even if you're in obscure USA, or if you're in some dark and dingy part of England, I don't care. If you're hiding in the sand down in Australia, let me hear from you. I want to hear about what our chapters are doing and what our guys are doing. And I always love to talk to guys that I don't get a chance to hear from very often. So please reach out to me and let me know, and I will see what I can do. So with that, guys, that's going to do it. That's going to wrap us up for episode 238. Boy, I want to encourage everybody to be the villain that the world needs you to be, because the heart of a villain never stops beating. The most important words I say every week, guys, please remember them well. It's okay not to be okay. If you are hurting, please find a brother to talk to. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Episode 238's in the books. We're going to be back for episode 239 next week. Stay warm, stay safe. Until next time, see you then.
Never underestimate the power of brotherhood. Every bro, every chapter, every caption. Heart of a villain.